Hello Flosstube, my name is Liz and welcome to my first video. I've been watching Flosstube since March of this year and I've finally decided to make my own. I've been stitching since March of this year. Actually, the way I came upon Flosstube was I looked up on YouTube. I was looking for cross-stitch basics, how to start, how to finish, general rules, and in that initial search it pulled up a lot of Flosstube videos. So I've been watching Flosstube for as long as I've been stitching. I started stitching in March of this year when I inherited my grandmother's stash. She was not a cross-stitcher. She did embroidery, and in her later years she did mostly stamped embroidery because of her eyesight. So she didn't have any charts, but she had a ton of DMC floss. And so in March I decided that I would start stitching this piece, the Once Upon a Time sampler from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, in honor of the arrival of my very first niece. So I'm hoping to have this finished for her by Christmas, finished and framed. We'll see. Although I've only been stitching since the beginning of this year, I've been crafty my whole life. I primarily knit. I've been knitting for over 10 years, although since I've started stitching, my knitting has kind of gone by the wayside, and cross-stitching has been my main focus. But now that fall is upon us, and the weather will start changing here really soon, I'll probably start knitting more. Aside from knitting, I've done things like I've painted, drawing, colored pencil work, I've messed around with clay some. I've done altered books, artist trading cards, paper crafting. I love paper crafting, although I don't do that anymore. A long story, but I really like working with paper and ink and rubber stamps and things like that. I still do a lot of those things, just not as often or as frequently as I knit or stitch. So what to expect from this channel? I'm going to try and keep these videos short, simply because, I enjoy the longer videos, I enjoy watching them. I honestly just don't think I'll have that much to talk about, and there's so much to watch on Flosstube alone that I figure if I keep it short, more people will be able to watch. Maybe? We'll see. There probably won't be a lot of haul in my videos, because I've been an avid knitter for so long. I have an enormous yarn stash that is taking up half my living room, it seems like. So my intention with stitching was to keep this hobby on a budget and not go crazy with the stash. So I don't have a ton of stash. I don't have I don't plan on having big hauls or anything like that. It'll mostly be my stitching updates. Probably with my other craftiness thrown in there too. What I'll do is I'll probably keep the stitching stuff in the beginning for anyone that's not interested in other crafty stuff. I'll leave that towards the second half of the video. I'm not sure how often I'll post. Maybe weekly, maybe monthly. It'll depend on life. So let's get into my whips. This is every whip I currently have. Like I said, this is the Once Upon a Time sampler. It's about a little over, I think it's about halfway done. This is the first thing I ever started, and hopefully I'll have this done by Christmas time. Up next is the Wacky Witches in Stitches by Clouds Factory. This is for a round robin that I am doing with a group on Facebook. So here's what I've got so far. When the owner of this project sent it to me, she had already stitched this black and purple motif up here, the purple borders right here, the outline of the O, and this entire W filled in, I believe. So far I've finished the rest of the word, or the second half of the word, and I've started this little motif right here. This needs to go in the mail the first week of October. It needs to go to the next person in the round robin. So this will probably be my main focus this week until I have all of this motif finished out, and then I'll put it in the mail probably Thursday or Friday. The owner of this project said that we didn't have to stitch the frame if we didn't want to. It was optional, but I'd like to stitch that for the frame, or stitch the frame before I set it in the mail. Next is Gigi by Nora Corbett. This is one of her witches. And here's what I've got so far. This is on 32 count gingerbread by Picture This Plus, I believe. The Stitch Maniac group on Facebook is doing a Mirabilia Raven Queen Sal starting October 1st. It's Raven Queen or any other Mirabilia or Halloween-y kind of pattern, and since I have Halloween Mirabilia going, I will probably participate with them and work on that. Next is this Mill Hill Buttons and Beads kit. It's the Haunted Hotel. I have, I think, 3 other haunted buildings from them. It's the first one I've attempted. I am so close to finishing this. Oh, you can't really, you can see through it. But I'm almost done with the stitching, and I'll be ready to start the beads. I've just kind of lost interest in that lately. Next is a Heaven and Earth Designs pattern called After the Ball. Let me see if I can pull it up here real quick on my tablet. As you can see, I'm not very far. This project is huge, but this is most of the black on page 1 of the chart. I'm doing it on 28 count. Here is a picture of the design. Isn't it pretty? It's a Throw to Cinderella, and this will be a gift for my mom eventually. Cinderella is her favorite story, but I have no deadline for that one. And finally, this is another Haid. This is the Exotic Halloween Quick Stitch. Let me just try and pull it up here. Alright. I've renamed her my Gypsy Halloween just because, well, for various personal reasons, but still on page 1 of that one. It's a quick stitch, so it's not nearly as big as the After the Ball, but I'm liking it. And that is all my whips. The way I do my rotation is, let me put something here for you to look at besides my bedspread. My rotation, originally I thought the idea of a rotation wasn't for me because my approach to all my other crafts and knitting is to work on what you feel like working on at that moment. Life's too short to abide by schedules, and for me, if I put deadlines or any sort of obligation to my crafting, it starts to stress me out and I don't like to do it. So the way I've been doing it is I was doing a different piece every day, whatever I felt like working on, and that I liked that, but I felt like I wasn't getting anything done or finished or seeing any progress. So what I've done is I do a weekly rotation, but I don't plan it ahead of time. Today is Monday, so Mondays are my free days, if you will. Monday I work on whatever I want, whether it's multiple pieces, what have you, new starts, anything. And on Monday I'll decide what my whip for the next week will be, starting on Tuesday through Sunday with Monday a free day. So that's been working really well for me. Sometimes I'll keep the same whip going for 2 weeks. Sometimes I'll just keep working on the prior week's whip on Monday if I feel like I need another day on it. And then I'm sort of taking a page from the Stash Queen, and for the Sals I'm participating in, I'll work on those for maybe half an hour a day each, in addition to whatever piece I'm working on that week. And so far that's worked out really well. So my piece for this week is going to be this Frosted Pumpkin Once Upon a Time sampler, simply because it hasn't gotten a lot of love lately. It's kind of been put in timeout for a little while just because I've had other things I wanted to work on, and I was out of town for a while, and then I was sick, so my stitching has kind of been on hold a little bit. But this will be my piece for this week, and then for when the Mirabilia, or I'm sorry, the Raven Queen Sal starts, I will pick up my Nora Corbett Witch and stitch along with them. And I'm also doing a Heaven and Earth Sal with a group on Facebook. So I'll be working on my after the ball, finishing all this black. And of course I need to finish my round robin piece, so that's going to take priority over everything else today and the rest of this week until it's finished, or until my section is finished. So I'll have about 4 pieces I'll be working on this week, which is a little odd for me. But there you have it. Thanks for watching and hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.